So Victoria, I had a friend reach out to me the other day letting me know that they're ready to purchase a house, but they say that they want to wait until prices go down. So I really just wanted to ask you if there's ever really a right time to purchase a home.
So there's never really a wrong time. I always say to clients when they ask that same question, it just has to be the right time for you. Whatever factor it might be, whether you're relocating for a job, you're looking to move in with your significant other, those are things that then would lead to a move. Whether people are looking a couple months out, a year plus out, we'll have this initial preliminary conversation just going over your specific goals. So monthly payment goals, how much you're looking to bring for down payment, and just make sure that it's going to make the most sense for you. With this, it's really non-committal. I think a lot of people are afraid of the phrase getting pre-approved because they think they're, instantaneously tied into buying at that point in time. You're not buying into any type of contract at that point until you officially go under contract. So it's never too early just to check in and make sure what you qualify for, what your goals are, and then kind of work backwards from that point.
Right, kind of like see what you're qualified for and then kind of set up your time frame based around when you have the money saved up or when it makes most sense for you to actually make a move. Because moving's a lot of work, so it doesn't always happen within the first 3 months of you say, oh, I want to buy a house, and boom, you're moving in the next 3 months. Right? So sometimes your pre-approval might change over time. You might get a raise that allows you to be qualified for more, and you're allowed to adjust those pre-approvals, right, based off of their qualifications.
Yeah, and two, people will check in with us and say, hey, my credit is not the best right now, and I'm like, no problem. We can actually set you up on a plan to get your credit in line.
I feel like that is a lot of fear for people. People are scared to get their credit pulled, right? Like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get my credit pulled. That means my score is gonna plummet, right? Is that true?
What we do initially, if someone's not looking to start putting in offers immediately, we'll do what's called a soft credit check.
Okay.
So it still gives us access to all the trade lines on the credit report, but it's not gonna be that hard inquiry on the actual credit itself.
Right.
It gives people the flexibility to still check in and see where they generally are at before actually doing that initial inquiry.
So really, it's never too early to start having these conversations about what you're pre-approved for, so that when you do start looking at houses and touring them, that you're ready to make an offer, once you do find the one that you fall in love with. Now, in regards to waiting versus not waiting, what are you seeing right now with the, overall real estate industry? Do you have more buyers in the market right now?
I would say this year people have started to stomach the interest rates a little more. Mm-hmm. We're not going to see those 2s and 3s that we once had, in 2020 and 21.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. So I think people are starting to get used to that, and they're realizing that they're going to have to buy eventually. So, playing the waiting game isn't really going to help you. Property values will most likely continue to rise,
right?
Especially once rates drop, hopefully this, at some point this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just to touch on that a little bit more too, if interest rates drop by 1% or so, that probably brings about another 5 million buyers into the market. We're already lacking inventory across the whole state of Maryland. So if you think that the market is hard right now, imagine if rates do lower and more demand comes into the market with the lack of supply, it's just going to drive up home prices even more.
Yeah, people are going to flood back into the market once terms are a little bit better. So like I said, I don't think it's a bad time to buy. It just has to be the right time for you, depending on those factors that we just went over. So I think that once people have that initial conversation with the lender, that they realize that maybe this process is a little bit more doable or feasible than they initially were led on to feel.
Right.
Which is kind of refreshing. That's our job, to break it down and make sure that it is much more feasible, the process from start to finish.
Yeah, and then you understand the process and you're not just kind of thrown into the fire, when you do find the house that you want to put an offer on.
If you would like to hear more information about starting the home buying process, we are here to help.